I want to turn now to another part of the Middle East, and that is Israel, which yesterday celebrated the return of the final deceased hostage, Master Sergeant Ron Gilevi, who died fighting to save a kibbutz.
We said we'd bring him back. He was the first to come in. He's the last to leave, a hero of Israel. Ronnie is back. There are no more hostages in Gaza.
That was Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, speaking at the Second International Conference on Combating Antisemitism. With all the hostages now out of Gaza, is the end near for Hamas? That's required for the second stage of the president's 20-point peace plan. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Dr. David Wurmser, senior analyst for the Middle East policy at the Center for Security Policy. David, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate you stopping in.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
So all hostages, dead and alive, were supposed to be returned in phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan. It's now taken more than 3 months. Do you see phase 2 being dragged out as well? Because this is where we're supposed to see Hamas disarmed.
Well, I think you really hit the nail on the head. The first phase was supposed to be done in 72 hours, and it took 3-4 months. And that was ostensibly to get done what Hamas was had agreed to and was willing to do. Then phase 2, we have to remember, Hamas has never really agreed to disarm. They never agreed to phase 2. So my sense is not only will they drag this out, but they'll sabotage it. And unfortunately, I think Qatar and Turkey are similarly of the same mindset. They don't really want Hamas to be dismantled, disempowered, and disarmed. So they will drag it out, and with the intent of dragging it out forever and having Hamas survive. So we're in somewhat of a strategic conundrum right now.
So, David, how does that work out, Turkey, Qatar, with President Trump's board of peace that became official last week? How does that work with both Turkey and Qatar possibly playing roles on that board?
It doesn't really work out, but that's exactly what the United States and Israel just worked out. Apparently, there's an understanding between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel that both have now essentially said, which is they're going to give a deadline for Hamas to disarm, after which, if Hamas doesn't meet it, there will be a green light to Israel from the United States to go ahead and do it by force. So there seems to be a situation where Israel and America are on the exact same page in terms of Hamas's disarming. Unfortunately, though, on the Board of Peace, there is some light of day. Israel sees Turkey and Qatar as the Muslim Brotherhood, which is an inimical force. They see them as hosting and coordinating with Hamas. They see them essentially as the patrons of Hamas. So therefore, having them on the Board of Peace is an oxymoron for them. You can't put, it's putting a wolf on a sheep's counsel. So they are against it, but on the other hand, they deferred to the United States. Now, the board is not in Gaza. They're not the force in Gaza, and they're not boots on the ground in Gaza. They're sort of the governing board. So the Israelis may be able to live with that with quite a bit of grumbling, but they don't want that board to appoint a force that goes into Gaza that is to the taste of Turkey or Qatar.
Turkey, President Erdogan has made very clear his intentions. I mean, you may have just heard me talking about northeast Syria.
That was an excellent segment.
Turkey's behind that. Turkey has a hand in what is happening in northeast Syria. Turkey is about destabilizing Syria. They wanted control of Syria, but they also would like to have a piece of Israel.
Well, you're absolutely right. That segment you had with Nadine was really one of the best and most important for people to watch. I really commend it. And I think you're really getting to the essence here, which is Israel is on the verge, America may be on the verge of dealing with the final blows to the Shiite problem that we've been living with, the Islamist problem that has the Shiite flavor for the last 45 to 50 years. But now we're entering a period where there's a civilizational momentum to the Sunni Islamist problem, because it is now an Islamist Arab Sunni government in Damascus that has taken over, and that evokes these historical images. 1,000 years that has not seen an Islamist Arab government in Damascus, the epicenter of Sunni Islam. This is very dangerous. They're sort of ahead of steam. Also, Europe's flailing with the Islamic question. This is giving them a sense that they are on the move, that Sunni Islam will take over the world. You're seeing it manifest with the minorities in Syria, the various rampages that this government in Syria have had against the Druze and the Christians and the Alawites and now the Kurds. Well, putting that government and its mentor, Turkey, onto the situation in Gaza, which is a dagger in Israel, when Erdogan, the president of Turkey himself, says that Israel won't exist anymore very soon. He called them, quote, goners. That is a prescription for conflict, not peace.
I would think, David, that history has told us that when people say stuff like that, we should believe them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the president means well, but Turkey is not our ally in this stuff.
Very quickly, we got about a minute left. Some clear things that could be put out to, for instance, this peace board and the expansion of the Abraham Accords, which I was a part of some of those early meetings. Grateful to see peace in that region, but I would think one of the first things that we should call upon these potential partners from these Islamic countries is to take care of the Hamas problem.
Precisely. Now, the UAE, which is part of the Abraham Accords, is very aggressively going after not only Hamas, but also its parent ideology, the Muslim Brotherhood. It's illegal there. They're very aggressive. Similarly, the Moroccans on the other end, and so forth. But you're right, there's a lot of countries that are at peace with Israel, so to speak, cold peace, but at peace. And a lot of countries that are sort of on the edge of the Abraham Accords, who are now drifting toward that Muslim Brotherhood camp. And this is very dangerous. There's no coming to terms with that ideology, this Islamist, and especially now that there is this sort of civilizational confidence and momentum that we're seeing in Sunni Islamism. That challenges the very existence of the West and Christianity and Judaism.
It's a moment filled with potential, but grave danger as well. David, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony.